part of the Open SSF, the Secure Software Foundation governing board, right? So with AI becoming almost pervasive and influencing and impacting almost every domain of the software development lifecycle, how do you see AI impacting the software supply chain, and particularly from the context of OpenSSF?
Absolutely. Well, I have been part of the OpenSSF governing board for now about a year. OpenSSF, for those who don't know, is Open Source Security Foundation. Last year, they defined 10 mobilization streams, in what they're going to work on, and those streams are like, hey, everybody should have a SBOM. How could we fix? How could we promote? How can we do more education around secure guiding principles? How do we fix the tools? How do we improve the CI/CD process? So they're truly trying to improve the posture of open source security, essentially. But now, with AI, as I was saying, is influencing each and every part of our life. I think that's the essential element here. So it changes the game a little bit. In the near term, I think developers that utilize, say, generative AI solutions will probably create code that will be less secure than those that are using without generative AI. Let me tell you why. Because there's a research that was done that shows Copilot, actually, which is GitHub Copilot, it can generate more vulnerable code, up to 40% of vulnerable code. And the reason for that is because Copilot is trained on the vast amount of data that is available or code that is available on GitHub. You don't know if that code is so secure or non-secure. So if it is going to be trained on all sorts of non-secure, potentially malicious, potentially vulnerable code, it's going to give you those recommendations. It doesn't tell you that this code is secure. So the warning in that paper was that, hey, developers should remain vigilant when using Copilot as copilots. That's essentially the point. Now, I know GitHub is aware of the issues. They're working on their new feature has something like vulnerability filtering scheme, so that you can block insecure coding patterns such as SQL injection or so. But that's end of the day, that's one element of it. Now, if you think about static analysis testing, that's again a key part of your secure supply chain tool chain. One of the challenges over there, it really builds upon pattern matching, right? So there are a lot of false positives that happen in secure static analysis testing. But that's where AI could be leveraged to hopefully alleviate some of those false positives. So you could actually leverage it more effectively. Another way it could impact software supply chain is submission of bad code to the repository. Currently this is basically mitigated by human code reviews. Highly possible that AI could be trained to find these items early on, and this is injected right as part of your CI/CD pipeline. On the other side, attackers could use LLM to create more vulnerable code for submission to open source projects. Think about a DDoS attack on a project where, let's say, the language I don't know, I'm going to use generative AI to create a code, and I submit a bunch of pull requests to the project. Now the burden is on the maintainer to go through those lists and say, I don't know which pull request to submit. So everybody, like OpenSSF, LF, CNCF, every foundation is really going about, should we accept the code that is generated using generative AI? Now, one of the areas that generative AI has been of masterful use by malicious actors in the area of phishing email. So, very concerned that malicious actors are going to take that kind of capability and take it into a new direction, which may cause some havoc for the security community. Well, I think LLMs could be very useful to malicious actors for typo squatting attacks. But on the other hand, you could actually train your model so that you can avoid the URL hijacking, because you can start realizing humans' eyes sometimes cannot catch the slight change in the URL, but the models, that's where they're good at. They could start leveraging it. And I guess the last part that I want to say about it is from the product's perspective. CrowdStrike, for example, already uses AI to look for malware. There is Intel threat detection software, for example. It also uses AI ML to analyze systems running on to detect ransomware. And I'm expecting that over the years, this will only grow more and more and more, where AI will be used both by the malicious actors and by the good people. and that struggle will always be there. The good, healthy tussle will always be there. It's anybody's guess who's going to win.